Welcome to our deep dive into financing a pool with a home equity line of credit, or HELOC. First, we'll explore how a luxury addition like a pool interacts with retirement, home equity, and family relationships. Next, we'll reveal hidden ownership costs and how debt secured against your home can impact your long-term security. Finally, we'll offer practical alternatives and a low-risk trial approach to protect both your equity and your relationships. Here's our roadmap. First, we'll discuss the HELOC and the retiree's dilemma. Then, we'll uncover the hidden costs of owning a pool. After that, we'll review how to protect your equity and your family relationships with proper agreements. Next, we'll recommend a low-risk trial strategy. We'll also include short quizzes to reinforce your understanding. Finally, we'll summarize the key takeaways and next steps. Before we begin, a brief disclaimer. This content is for educational purposes only. It is not financial, legal, or tax advice. Always consult licensed professionals who understand your specific situation and local laws before making financial decisions, signing contracts, or securing debt against your home. Let's frame the retiree's dilemma. When you secure a HELOC against your home for another person's benefit, the liability is entirely yours. If they fail to pay due to health issues, market downturns, or long-term care needs, you become responsible for the payments. This can jeopardize your equity and retirement stability. Additionally, current HELOC rates, often over 7%, may negate potential gains from keeping retirement funds invested conservatively. Therefore, question any advice suggesting a high-interest loan is better than using available cash, especially for retirees. The practical effect of the loan is shifting future liability away from the beneficiary's funds and onto your secured asset. Here's a rapid overview of how a HELOC works. A HELOC is a revolving credit line secured by your home. Because it is secured, missed payments can threaten your home equity and, in worst cases, lead to foreclosure scenarios. Rates are frequently variable, which means your payment can rise over time. Using a HELOC to fund another person's project effectively transfers the financial risk to you while the benefit goes to someone else. This asymmetry is the core risk we're unpacking today. This flowchart illustrates the liability chain. First, you open a HELOC secured by your home. Next, funds are directed to the relative's pool project. If there's only an informal promise to repay, a default funnels the lender's collection efforts straight back to you because the debt is in your name. Consequently, your home equity becomes exposed. However, with a formal contract and collateral from the relative, the default path can trigger legal remedies that draw from their collateral first, potentially shielding your home from immediate risk. For retirees, the risks compound. When HELOC interest rates exceed 7%, the cost may surpass what a conservative retirement portfolio earns, making the loan uneconomical. Variable rate shocks constrain fixed or limited incomes. Meanwhile, market declines can reduce portfolio value just as borrowing costs increase, creating a double squeeze. Beyond finances, opportunity cost matters. Payments could crowd out medical, emergency, or lifestyle needs. Finally, the emotional toll of missed payments can introduce family conflict, harming relationships. Let's compare using a HELOC versus paying cash. With a HELOC, the loan is secured by your home and often carries a variable interest rate, creating the risk of payment shocks. Critically, the financial risk shifts from the beneficiary to you, and in severe cases could threaten your home. With cash, there is no list and no interest. However, using cash reduces liquidity and may have tax or withdrawal considerations, especially if the funds come from retirement accounts. Regardless, maintaining an adequate emergency fund is essential if using cash. Here is a representative cost timeline. Installation for an in-ground pool can range from roughly $60,000 to over $120,000. Resurfacing or relining may be required every 15 to 20 years, at approximately $15,000. Pumps and heaters commonly need replacement every 7 to 12 years, ranging from $1,500 to $6,000. Annual electricity costs might add $600 to $1,800 or more. Chemicals and supplies can run $400 to $1,200 annually. Insurance premiums may increase by $150 to $500 or more. Opening and closing services typically cost $300 to $800 each year. Repairs and contingencies may add another $300 to $1,000 or more per year. Taxes and permits vary by jurisdiction. These numbers are estimates and vary widely by location, pool type, energy prices, and labor rates. This pie chart provides a rough proportion of ongoing pool costs. Electricity often represents the largest share due to pumps and heaters, around 30% in our example. Chemicals represent about 15%, while insurance increases may account for around 10%. Opening and closing services add another 10%. Repairs can average 20% over time, and miscellaneous items such as cleaning tools or small parts fill the remaining 15%. These proportions are illustrative and will vary by climate, energy costs, and usage patterns. Now, let's address property value. In many regions, pools reduce marketability because some buyers view them as liabilities due to safety, maintenance, and insurance considerations. Even where pools are popular, the appraisal increase is often smaller than the installation cost. Additionally, the higher ongoing upkeep can deter prospective buyers, potentially lengthening the time your property sits on the market. Therefore, do not assume a pool will automatically increase resale value. To protect both equity and relationships, rely on formal documentation. Engage an attorney to draft a written agreement that specifies payment schedules, interest, and term length. Include clear contingencies for default, disability, and death. Consider collateral from the beneficiary and, if appropriate, a recorded listen to secure performance. Use a dedicated escrow or separate account for payment tracking. Clarify responsibility for cost overruns. Require proof of appropriate insurance and a documented maintenance plan. Confirm title, tax, and local safety compliance requirements. Finally, schedule periodic reviews to keep the agreement accurate as circumstances change. This timeline visualizes typical maintenance cycles. At year 0, installation occurs. From years 1 through 5, you can expect routine maintenance, chemicals, and utility costs. Between years 7 and 10, many owners face pump or heater replacement. Years 11 to 15 commonly bring repairs and small upgrades. By years 15 to 20, resurfacing or relining becomes likely. After that, the cycle often repeats. Planning for these intervals helps avoid financial surprises. This sequence diagram shows the payment flow. You open the HELOC and receive funds from the bank. You then pay the relative's pool contractor. The relative promises to repay you informally. In a normal case, they make payments to you and you pay the bank. In a default case, they stop paying, but you still owe the bank. The bank demands payment from you, and if payments are not made, your home equity can be at risk. This demonstrates why informal arrangements are insufficient when debt is secured by your property. Quiz time. The question is, if you secure a HELOC against your home for a relative's pool and the relative stops paying, who is legally responsible to the lender? The options are A, the relative, B, you, because the HELOC is in your name, C, both equally, or D, no one until the pool is sold. You may pause the video now to think about the answer. We will discuss the correct answer in the next section of the video. The correct answer is B. When the HELOC is in your name and secured by your home, the lender will look to you for payment, not the relative. This is true even if there was an informal understanding that the relative would cover the payments. Before committing to a large, secured debt, consider a low-risk trial. An above-ground pool in the $8,000 to $10,000 range allows you to test real maintenance, cleaning demands, utility costs, and family usage. Over 1 or 2 seasons, you'll learn whether the experience aligns with expectations without risking your home equity. Here is a practical checklist in markdown format for a trial approach. Budget $8,000 to $10,000 for a quality above-ground setup. Verify your electrical capacity and safety requirements. Ensure the price includes the filter, pump, ladder, and safety gear. Track real utility costs over 2 full seasons, and log weekly maintenance time including vacuuming, skimming, and water chemistry testing. Document chemical and water costs, and review any insurance changes with your carrier. Plan your opening and closing, and compare do-it-yourself against professional services. After 2 seasons, debrief with your family to compare actual usage to expectations. Then decide whether to proceed, pause, or pivot. Second quiz. The question is, which of the following is typically a recurring cost rather than a one-time cost? The options are A. Initial installation of an in-ground pool. B. Annual chemicals and supplies. C. A one-time permit fee. Or D. A one-time electrical panel upgrade. You may pause the video now to consider your answer. We will reveal the correct answer in the next section. The correct answer is B. Chemicals and supplies are recurring expenses. Installation, permit fees, and major electrical work are typically one-time costs, although upgrades may be needed in the distant future. Let's recap the essentials. When you secure debt against your home, you carry the liability to the lender. Elevated HELOC rates can make borrowing more expensive than the returns on conservative investments. Pools entail decades of maintenance and cost escalations. Informal agreements are ineffective. Formalize everything with legal documentation. If you would not enforce a contract against a loved one, the risk may be unacceptable. Finally, a trial with an above-ground pool can provide real-world data before you commit to significant debt. In summary, prioritize retirement security before luxury projects. Model worst-case scenarios and be certain you can absorb them. Put agreements in writing and include contingencies and collateral to align incentives. Finally, test the dream cheaply with a trial before you mortgage it. Thank you for watching. If you found this helpful, please like the video, share it with someone considering a pool, and subscribe for more content on protecting your finances and relationships. Tell us in the comments, would you try a 2-season above-ground pool before committing to a HELOC, and why?